Hello. Okay. Okay, it works. Um, Hi. Thank you all for coming. My name's Elsie Gray. And before we get started, I'd like to say thank you to Sarah Peterson, the MFA director, the assistant coordinator, Kylie Van Note, my mentor, Sophia Che, and my thesis committee, Sophia, Rick, and Katinka. And a special thanks to my mom and sister for encouraging me on my creative endeavors, academic journey, and showing me a tremendous amount of support. So, a little bit about me. I'm a daughter, I'm a big sister, I'm a student here at MCAD, and I'm a proud cat mom. And my work is focused on the woman's body. Strap in because it's going to get a little bit depressing. So, here, a little information about me before we dive in. Ever since I could pick up a marker, I've always been addicted to making. From drawing on the walls to drawing on myself with Sharpie. That's all I wanted to do. Being that I was a child who had a severe speech impediment, I couldn't really advocate for myself at all. I couldn't express what I wanted or what I needed, and this made it extremely difficult in literally any setting. But somehow my mom knew what I needed and wanted, and she was my advocate and my person. And I'm so beyond grateful that she gave me all the markers, crayons, and paint I needed to help me express myself through art in other ways that I couldn't. Finally, when I was in elementary school, after many, many years of speech therapy, I was finally able to speak and use my tongue properly. It was like this curse had been lifted. The only way I knew how to express myself, let alone advocate for myself, was through my art, or in this case, coloring. So naturally, I was the quiet, artsy kid growing up, which brings me to my academic career. I received my bachelor's in studio art from Hamlin University in 2021. My time at Hamlin really got me into making sculptures. I then transitioned the same fascination into grad school. My artistic practice makes me have so many questions about femininity, womanhood, the woman's body displayed in media, and the daunting male gaze. Due to inappropriate catcalling, unwanted sexual advances, pressures, and the overwhelming chaotic situations that I've personally experienced as a woman in my life, it's exhausting dealing with this sort of pressure to be ideal, this trauma and anxiety that never seems to stop from simply being a woman. With social media platforms, companies, and influencers giving their ideas and suggestions as to what this desirable woman looks like, I can create this rather negative impact on one's own personal feeling and self-worth. At least for me, it did. A few questions I often ask myself include, am I cute? Am I sexy? Am I thin enough? Am I fat? Am I wearing enough makeup? Should I really be in the kitchen? Do I have to be the one to clean or do all the dishes all the time? It's all too much. I wanted to highlight specifically in my work the female form and to demonstrate from the inside of how toxic and torn apart it feels, constantly worrying about something that is constantly changing. Now, with all this in mind, jumbling around toxic topics in my little head, it presents to me this dreadful feeling of not feeling confident or comfortable in my own body, and the negative effects caused by the pressure of gendered stereotypes and social constructs, which includes this inner self-hatred, mental issues, and rage it has caused me. So, through the use of color, sound, and movement in my work, I've created a space evoking fear, emaciation, movement, vulgarity, horror, and rage. As the MFA program went on, I then began to ponder how could I strip the body down to the minimum, or perhaps the core. So I decided on diving deeper into human anatomy. Well, it's interesting, sure, but that didn't really give me what I was looking for. And the minimalism slowly faded away from my interest. And I'm not a sciencey gal, I'm in art school. Then I realized, what if I created a video? What if I added sculptural elements to my video? This is the moment when my interest flourished into an obsession. Okay, so now with all these toxic thoughts, mental health problems, and having an eating disorder on top of that can be very overwhelming things to deal with, especially to tackle in grad school. So my emotions, manic episodes, or how I was feeling at the moment really had a significant impact on what I made as an artist. For instance, in complete frustration and exploration, I made a body bag with a little bit of pizzazz. This was my body bag. She was still alive, she was simply hanging out on the couch. Now, I have used and also experimented with colors such as yellow, red, and pink of plastic and sometimes paint. Within sculpture and video, I took notice to my own body, treating it as a prop. In my video work, I use materials such as everyday objects, makeup products, women's beauty and hygienic supplies, as well as my own body and its bodily sounds. In my sculptural works, I use plastic bags where I'd cover walls and floors and couches and even my own body, in which I would form the plastic to different parts of my body, then proceeded to melt them with my heat gun while they were still on my body. I use this method to represent the bends and folds of the body's movements, as well as changes that take place through one's body. The outcome triggered my fascination of the form of the body, specifically the woman's body, being that it was from my own body. After enduring some of the pain it took to create this piece, it resembled and paid homage to this pain some women, such as myself, feel on a daily basis. I then began thinking more about routines, which made me immediately become questioning morning routines, such as those you see on TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube videos, often labels, "Get ready with me." It reminded me of how annoying and completely unrealistic they are. Along with the multitude of products a gal has, such as myself, have at arm's length just to simply get ready or be looked at as presentable. Now, I draw inspiration from Marina Abramovich and Cheryl Donegan. Both of these artists showcase the unpredictability throughout their work and the shock value they collect from the audience. So for instance, let's start with Cheryl Donegan. In Donegan's work Head in 1993, she uses her body as a vessel. With her usage of bright, vibrant colors, she is presented in her video, simply opening and shutting her mouth as the liquid from the container pours into her mouth. With her video Head, I got the inspiration to make my own video as well. I shot it in my bathroom, played with intimate, smaller spaces, and found that looking through a mirror channeled a whole new approach to me. So I made a video of me brushing my teeth. Sorry, Mom. So I quickly gathered information from Donegan as she used her body as this vessel. It had influenced me in my practice as I wanted to pick something so simple such as an everyday routine. I decided to brush my teeth, as everyone does, or at least I hope everyone does, with a bit of a twist. I continue on with this ideology and display of common household objects such as kitchen utensils and proceed to lick the objects as me and my siblings had once when my mom let us lick the bowl as kids. However, it's not as cute as it may seem. I think of it as paying another homage to unwanted sexual advances and the hardships of saying no to something because of unforeseen consequences or unknown reactions to said rejection. I'm also inspired by Marina Abramovich, as I had mentioned earlier, and her work has had a huge impact on me as an artist. Her performance, where she screams until she loses her voice, it has made me think things that someone shouldn't think. And she's used her body and it just lies there. The subtle choices in her material really interest me as she simply uses her voice until she loses it. And the dark material she is wearing, it shows this womanly form as she lies there on the ground. Now, during my experimental phase, I was learning how to channel a character. I was learning how to make use of the space. At least it felt like I was making my own set. My process involved me setting up my tripod, thinking about either trauma or a bad day that I was having. I would begin to channel my feelings. I had used lots of inner frustration or negative thoughts in which I was feeling towards myself at the time of filming. I had thought of it like an interpretive, angry rage dance that I just so happened to get on video. Sorry. Now, I'm not condoning starving yourself because eating disorders are bad. For me and my experience, it's extremely interesting using and being able to manipulate my own body. I often would twist, tug, slap, and pull in aggressive tendencies. And now, after practicing tugging, squeezing, and displaying different forms of manipulation to my own bodily form in my video exploration, I executed the concept into my sculptural work while also bringing in the emotions and anger I had experienced during the exploration of my own body. So it's difficult, really, as a woman trying to compete with these new fads, stereotypes, roles, and expectations that Western society has given women and still continue in 2023. It makes me think, after exploring video work from female artists in the 1970s to current day, it makes me question and think, really, what's changed? So women throughout history have been subjected to these false realities, expectations from media outlets, family, friends, partners, and societal norms, which can have a rather negative impact on one's own personal self-worth and feelings, as it has to me. I wanted to highlight these ideas and alterations to the female form to demonstrate how toxic and torn apart it feels constantly worrying, constantly not feeling good or comfortable in your own body, but trying to reclaim that ownership and to remember that she is allowed to take up the space. Thank you so much. Questions? I have answers.
Thank you for your presentation. Do you think that you would have arrived at video and performance in front of the video camera had you not done the sort of performative things in sculpture previous to that?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I feel as though eventually I would have gotten around to it. I was really involved in theater as a child too, so I feel like having that history or background really helped me in my artistic endeavors that I'm doing now. Thank you. Bessie.
Uh, as you kind of like evolve your art to be more like directly confrontational against like patriarchal ideas, and like to be blunt, like gross, but like in a good way. um, do you find that that has changed how you interact with the world on a personal level in your private life as well?
That's a really good question. Also, I am trying really hard to have that distance of work-life balance with artistic work and my own work, but it's so difficult because I feel like my work is also my life. And I'm still trying to figure out that balance, but that's something I'm definitely still thinking about.
There's one other one I can read here. How do you see your audience or audiences? Like, might they be?
Primarily, I feel as though really whoever resonates with it, and I feel as though majority of that has been women or female presenting as of right now, but I'm open to expanding my audience as well through my work for my thesis. So,
All right, thank you, Elsie.
thank you.
Bye.